Prince William has finally snapped. Enough is enough. He has told friends he will strip Meghan Markle of the HRH title.
There's one word that keeps coming back to me about these two. It's about privacy. They've been to court. They've spent millions of, well, probably taxpayers' money talking about privacy. And now we've got a video of her twerking in a black dress with a lump.
And there's video footage of it.
It's so disrespectful to Queen Elizabeth II's memory.
Meghan ruined Harry. Now that the once carefree, fun-loving prince has turned into a miserable moaner, lashing out from the depths of his paranoia at a world he thinks is conspiring against him.
You Kardashians, absolutely. Why not, Father Calvin, just put the bill to Parliament now? Just strip them.
Well,
just strip them of their titles. I'm done. I'm done.
Prince William has finally had enough. After years of biting his tongue, turning the other cheek, and watching scandal after scandal unfold from across the Atlantic, the future king is reportedly drawing the line, and this time it's personal.
The Daily Beast has reported that King Charles is turning a blind eye, but King William won't.
Prince William is reportedly formulating a plan to finally strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their HRH titles.
What set him off? Not an explosive interview or a leaked private letter. No, this time it was a video. One that's been called bold, inappropriate, and according to Palace Whispers, an embarrassment to the crown.
And then that whole provocative dancing, that skanky coochie hoochie dancing that she is doing is disgusting. Sit your butt down acting like that. The royal family should be ashamed of this woman because a duchess, someone with a title, does not behave this way in public.
A dance clip of Meghan Markle, visibly pregnant, that took social media by storm and royals by surprise. Now insiders claim Prince William is moving behind the scenes to push for something no royal has dared in decades: the complete and public removal of Meghan's HRH title.
Meghan wasn't twerking. She was shaking loose what little class she had left.
So if King Charles or Prince William do want this to happen, now is the time to make it happen over this next 4 years while there's still a Labour government in power.
But is it even possible? And what exactly was in that video that caused such a stir? Hold on, because what comes next might just change how you see the royal family forever. When Meghan Markle and Prince Harry stepped back from royal duties in 2020, it sent shockwaves through the monarch. The couple announced their decision to carve out a progressive new role, but what they didn't leave behind, at least technically, were their royal titles.
She sent a bloke or some friend of hers from it, and it said, present from HRH, the Duchess of Sussex. She's lying.
Yeah, she's gaslighting. She's lying. Absolutely. And this is just another one of those examples of Harry and Meghan disrespecting the Queen. I know she is no longer here, but that does not mean that the rules don't apply to you any longer.
Despite giving up their positions as working royals, both Harry and Meghan retained the right to be called His and Her Royal Highness. But there was a catch. Under an agreement brokered by the Queen herself, they agreed not to use those HRH styles in public or official settings. In other words, the titles were still there, just buried under layers of royal compromise.
Meghan Markle is now accused of breaking the agreement with the late Queen after podcast revelation, with the compliments of HRH, which is Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex.
And it's all about trust. They excluded Meghan Markle from the Sandringham Summit because they were afraid she would secretly record the meeting and release it to the media. There is no trust when it comes to Prince Harry.
And while the monarchy might have hoped the couple would quietly fade into philanthropic life in California, that didn't exactly happen. From Oprah interviews to Netflix docuseries, from memoirs to red carpet appearances, Meghan and Harry have remained firmly in the spotlight, often in ways the palace reportedly views as undignified or inappropriate.
See, this institutional gaslighting that happens is extraordinary. And that's why everything that's happened to us was always going to happen to us. Because if you speak truth to power, that's how they respond.
Before you gave up any royal duty, but wanted to have your royal cake and eat it by keeping your titles so you could exploit them and make gazillions of dollars in America to the highest bidder. And what do you do for that money? You trash your family endlessly, and you're going to keep doing it, as does your wife, who trashes her own family, most of whom she's disowned.
For years, the royal family appeared reluctant to escalate the tension further. But now, after this most recent video storm, William's patience may have run out, because while Meghan and Harry's titles are ceremonial, the symbolism is everything. And And for a future king, symbols matter more than headlines. The clip surfaced almost overnight, a short, seemingly playful moment of Meghan Markle, several months pregnant, dancing at what looked like a private celebration. No official cameras, no red carpet, just grainy footage, casual clothes, music in the background, and a few moves that instantly divided the internet. Some called it liberating, others called it tone deaf, but the word that reportedly made its way into royal circles, vulgar.
You're a duchess. Who does this? Who behaves like this? Who is supposedly pregnant? Sit your duchess a sausage butt down. What are you doing? Dancing all provocatively, supposedly pregnant in that big fake looking bump.
The footage, though never officially confirmed or denied by Meghan's team, showed her dancing with friends in a way that critics claimed clashed with the dignity expected of someone still holding an HRH title. The movement was bold, the vibe was carefree, and for a growing number of royal traditionalists, it was the final straw. Almost immediately, royal watchers speculated, was this just another Meghan moment gone viral, or something that crossed an invisible line? But while the public debated, the real tension was allegedly brewing behind palace walls, and Prince William, according to whispers, was less amused than ever before, because for him, this wasn't just about a dance, it was about reputation, legacy, and respect for the crown.
This is gross and grim and deranged on every level.
Just weird is to do this, what they're trying to prove by this.
It is disgusting. Meghan, girl, you need to do better. I don't know what you think you're going to prove from this, but you're absolutely proving nothing with this appalling behavior of you apparently pregnant.
Behind closed doors, it didn't take long for murmurs to start. Royal insiders, those nameless sources who seemed to know just enough to stir the pot, began hinting that Prince William had finally reached his breaking point. According to leaked comments from palace staff and insider claims echoed in British tabloids, the future king wasn't just disappointed by the video. He was embarrassed and furious, not because of the dance itself necessarily, but because Meghan still held a title that tied her name and behavior to the monarchy. For William, it wasn't about personal disdain, it was about optics, about tradition, about the kind of royal image he spent years carefully rebuilding after decades of scandal.
But wanting to exploit their royal titles, I think it stinks. And I think what King Charles should do, he should just strip them of the titles. Let them go off and be, celebrities, that's fine. But don't do it in the name of our royal family.
The only thing HRH stands for in association with Meghan Markle is her ruthless homewreckerness, I guess.
Sources close to the palace suggest William began quietly urging royal advisors to revisit the 2020 exit agreement, not to reopen the entire arrangement, but to make one very specific change. Remove Meghan's right to use Her Royal Highness, permanently and publicly. Is it true? Buckingham Palace hasn't commented, and Kensington officials remain tight-lipped. But that hasn't stopped the speculation or the headlines. Phrases like internal pressure, formal review, and undignified conduct have started popping up in subtle ways across UK media. And if those reports are accurate, then William may not be simply venting frustration. He might be setting the stage for a move that hasn't been made in royal history since the fallout with Princess Diana.
But it's hardly a secret that the palace has already conducted secret meetings with members of the government to discuss putting the plan into action.
Charles might be happy to put up with this, but William won't. He loathes and despises Harry and Meghan with every bone in his body. He believes they have betrayed everything the family stands for.
But before we get there, it's important to understand how deep this family fracture really runs. The rift between Meghan Markle and the royal family didn't begin with a dance video. That was just the latest spark. The fire, however, had been burning for years. From the moment Meghan stepped into the royal spotlight, tension brewed beneath the surface. At first, the world celebrated what seemed like a modern fairy tale, an American actress marrying a British prince. But behind palace gates, not everyone saw it that way. Reports of internal clashes began early. Allegations of staff mistreatment, claims of Meghan feeling unprotected by royal aides, rumors of fights between Meghan and Kate Middleton over everything from dresses to protocols.
You've had the Duke and Duchess of Montecito running around like a rival royal family, trashing their family, trashing the monarchy. Harry and Meghan take their audience for fools. They blame everybody but themselves. They present even the most incendiary of claims with no evidence. And sadly, the impact is real. The royal family family is getting damaged. The monarchy is getting tarnished.
The tabloids fanned the flames, and rather than extinguish the controversy, the palace stayed silent, a decision Meghan later said left her feeling completely alone. Then came the interviews, first Oprah, then Netflix, then Harry's tell-all memoir, Spare. Each revelation tore deeper into the royal fabric. Accusations of racism, mental health struggles, public finger-pointing. Meghan and Harry weren't just stepping back, they were pulling the curtain back, and the monarchy wasn't ready for the spotlight.
There's a conversation with you,
with Harry,
about how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
My wife is not visibly black, but that's who she is. The way that they speak about her and the way they treat her is incredibly relatable to everybody else of color.
Prince William, in particular, was said to be deeply wounded by his brother's decisions, and Meghan, fairly or not, was seen by some as the driving force behind Harry's rebellion. Sources close to William described him as incensed, heartbroken, and most of all, determined to protect the crown at all costs. So when that pregnancy dance video went viral, it wasn't seen in isolation. It was the latest chapter in a long, painful saga, and for William, possibly the last straw. Once the clip hit social media, it didn't stay in the shadows for long. Within hours, hashtags like Meghan Markle dance and royal disgrace began trending on X and TikTok.
Prince Harry allowing a video like that so private to be put into the public domain to try and make some sort of point is equally awful.
Never before seen pics of the kids. They only did that so they could get more press. Honestly, they want to keep their kids out of the press, they want to keep them safe, but they constantly want to just throw a little bit so we're like, ooh, a rare peek at their kids.
But Meghan is willing to show pictures of her kids. I think it just depends on how many zeros are at the end of the check.
The video sparked instant debate, but this wasn't just about choreography. It became a flashpoint for a much bigger war, Meghan versus the monarch. Supporters rushed to defend her, calling the backlash sexist, racist, and outdated. They praised the clip as a woman celebrating her body and her freedom, unshackled from the stiff formalities of royal life. She's not a duchess anymore. One viral tweet read, "She's a woman enjoying her pregnancy. Let her dance." But the other side wasn't so forgiving. UK tabloids were quick to pounce, labeling the clip a disgraceful display unbecoming of someone still linked to the monarchy. Headlines screamed about vulgarity, loss of dignity, and further humiliation for the royal family.
Sure, do it behind the scenes with your husband, with your family, but don't release a photo of you doing the hoochie coochie dance pregnant for the whole world as a celebration.
I think the post is more about Meghan, if anything. Here are my children, but look at me. You know, I'm here too.
And then they put out pictures of Lilibet, but it does. You see her half covered.
Right.
But all you see is Meghan. So it's all about Meghan again.
Even some royal commentators, usually cautious, began suggesting that it might be time for formal action, and the palace, silent as always. No statement, no correction. Just the same frosty refusal to dignify scandal with a response. But silence didn't stop the story. It fueled it, because now the public wasn't just debating a dance, they were questioning what's left of Meghan's connection to the crown, and more importantly, whether she even wants it anymore.
Showing these two photos of Meghan with the child, then it becomes about Meghan. It doesn't really become about the child. It becomes about Meghan showing the child. There's no picture of Harry. There's nothing of Harry in this post.
Meghan is slut dropping there with her bump probably not real, including Liz Jones in the Daily Mail, who has said that she needs to come out publicly and actually prove that she did give birth to those children.
On paper, removing a royal title sounds dramatic, but it's not as simple as it sounds. When Meghan and Harry stepped down from royal duties, they agreed not to use their HRH styles publicly. But here's the twist. They still hold all those titles. It was a compromise, one that left their formal status intact, even as their roles disappeared.
Did you notice that at the end of every episode, it says, like, the starring, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex?
Yes.
That's how she's billed.
It's the UK's right to then say and follow the rules that they have, that you're not special. You don't get extra just because. And he constantly is living this life of demanding extra because he's Prince Harry. Bro, when you left the royal family, you became some random dude. Let's keep it honest. Who was Prince Harry?
But what happens if the royal family decides to take things a step further? Technically, only the monarch, or currently King Charles III, has the power to revoke royal titles. It's a rare and highly controversial move, but it's not without precedent. Princess Diana lost the style of Her Royal Highness after her divorce from Prince Charles. And more recently, Prince Andrew was stripped of royal titles and patronages following public outcry over serious allegations. The difference? Those cases were tied to legal or formal family changes.
And this follows in the past practice, Prince Andrew, when he stepped away from royal life after scandal,
He still has the HRH. He does not use it.
I'm very, very surprised the openness with which Harry and Meghan have gone into this, in that, you know, they're sharing text messages, they're sharing very private photographs, they're sharing every detail of their most secret trips in the early days of their relationship. And this is a couple who said they left the royal family seeking privacy.
With Meghan, it's more symbolic, a public image issue. That makes the situation more complicated and more dangerous. Behind the scenes, royal experts say there's growing pressure from traditionalists who believe Meghan's behavior continues to undermine the dignity of the institution. And if Prince William is indeed pushing for action, he might be leveraging his growing influence within the family to convince his father that the time for diplomacy is over. Of course, the palace would never move quickly. These decisions take time, lawyers, and careful coordination. But insiders believe the machinery has already begun to turn quietly and strategically.
According to a source, here's the quote, Prince William plans to flex his muscles and wipe his wayward brother, Prince Harry, and his power-hungry wife, Meghan, from the history books, it says.
And a recent poll by The Express found that 97% of those surveyed believe that King Charles should strip Harry of his royal title.
And if it does, it would send a global message. Meghan Markle is no longer just outside the royal family. She's been formally cut off. But as with everything involving Meghan and Harry, it's never just about protocol. It's about the bigger war being waged between two worlds, modern celebrity and ancient monarch. This was never just about a title or a dance. Meghan Markle has come to represent something much bigger, a symbol of modern identity, self-expression, and rebellion against centuries-old tradition. To her supporters, she's a woman who broke free from the confines of a rigid institution. To her critics, she's the embodiment of disrespect toward that very tradition. And right in the middle of it all sits the monarch, an institution built on image, hierarchy, and control. Everything in the royal world is curated, coded, and conservative. There are no spontaneous dance videos. There are no viral outbursts. There is order, or there is chaos.
That's a princess? That's not a princess. That's not a duchess.
I mean,
that's a disgrace.
Serious. Royal life isn't just about tiaras and tabloid covers. It's about diplomacy, duty, and deference. It's a system built on nuanced protocol and deep-rooted cultural history.
So when Meghan's personal choices go viral, it's not just tabloid fodder, it's a cultural collision. Her freedom is seen by the monarchy as unpredictability. Her authenticity becomes controversy. And for someone like Prince William, raised in a palace where image is survival, that unpredictability isn't just annoying, it's threatening. What we're watching isn't just a feud, it's a war between two visions of power, one inherited, one earned. Meghan built a brand from vulnerability and openness. The royals, meanwhile, survive by never blink, never letting the cracks show. So when William allegedly pushes to strip her title, it's not just about punishment. It's about drawing a line in the sand, saying, this is who we are, and that is not.
A new poll reveals that the declining arc of Harry's popularity has accelerated into a high-speed plummet. The royal family, especially William and Kate, didn't develop reservations about Meghan because of the way she bullied palace staff. She was simply the victim of royal racism. All of this is nonsense, of course.
But here's the catch. The more the monarchy tries to silence Meghan, the louder her story becomes. The more they push her out, the more millions lean in to hear what she'll say next. Because the truth is, whether they like it or not, the world is watching both sides of the chessboard, and neither side seems ready to back down. So, is this really the moment Prince William draws the line? Has the so-called vulgar video finally tipped the scales, not just within royal walls, but in the eyes of a king in waiting? Or is this just another wave in the never-ending storm that follows Meghan Markle wherever she goes? What's clear is that the cracks in the royal foundation are widened. Titles are no longer just ceremonial. They're symbols of loyalty, control, and legacy.
The HRH is only given to working royals and senior members of the royal family because it denotes a level of I guess, respect in the public, and also it's not a financial thing. Working royals do not profit. They do not use their names to make money. It's an honor to have an HRH. I think the understanding is that when he becomes monarch, they will be formally stripped of the HRH.
And I'm sure Prince William has a lot of support for that from the public.
And if William truly pushes to have Meghan stripped of her HRH status, it could spark the most public, brutal royal split in decades. But here's the twist. Meghan may not care. In fact, some say she's already moved on, building her empire, telling her story, and leaving the crown behind. To her, the title may not hold the power it once did. Still, the question remains, is this the beginning of the end for Meghan's royal connection, or just the next chapter in a battle that's far from over? Whatever comes next, one thing is certain. The palace might stay silent, but the world won't stop talking.